If you're in the market for a gaming laptop right now, you've probably already noticed something. There are a lot of options out there. Different screen sizes, different GPUs, different price points, and most comparison videos just throw specs at you without actually telling you who each laptop is for. That's exactly what we're fixing today. We've narrowed it down to 7 of the best gaming laptops you can buy in 2026. And for each one, we're going to tell you the specs, what makes it stand out, and most importantly, whether it's the right fit for you. Let's get into it. If you're into tech content like this, subscribing to the channel means you'll never miss a breakdown like this one. It takes 2 seconds, and it genuinely helps us out. Starting off with the ASUS ROG Strix G16, and this one is labeled Best for Creators, which tells you a lot about who it's designed for. You're getting a 16-inch FHD Plus display in a 16:10 aspect ratio, running at 165 Hz with a 3 millisecond response time. There's also an ACR film on the panel that improves contrast and cuts down on glare, which makes a real difference if you're doing any kind of color-sensitive work like video editing or graphic design. Under the hood, it runs an Intel Core i7-14650HX paired with an NVIDIA RTX 5060 laptop GPU. The RTX 5060 supports DLSS 4. So you're getting AI-assisted frame generation on top of already solid raw performance. Memory is 16 GB, DDR5 at 5600 MHz, and storage is a 1 TB PCIe Gen 4 SSD. Cooling is where ASUS put in serious work here. There's a full vapor chamber, a tri-fan array, and they've used Conductonaut liquid metal as the thermal interface. That combination keeps performance sustained during long sessions without the machine throttling down or getting unbearably loud. You also get Wi-Fi 7, full surround RGB lighting, and a stealth mode feature for when you need to keep things quiet. If you create content and game, this is a strong choice. If you're into tech content like this, subscribing to the channel means you'll never miss a breakdown like this one. It takes 2 seconds, and it genuinely helps us out. Next up is the MSI Katana 15HX, and this one isn't shy about what it's going for. Raw power. This machine runs an Intel Core i9-14900HX, which is a 24-core hybrid CPU, paired with an NVIDIA RTX 5070 with 8 GB of GDDR7 memory. That combination handles high frame rate ray tracing and DLSS 4 upscaling without breaking a sweat. The display is a 15.6-inch QHD panel at 165 Hz, covering 100% of the DCI-P3 color space, so visuals are sharp and color accurate. RAM comes in at 32 GB DDR5 right out of the box, expandable to 64 GB. Storage is 1 TB NVMe. Connectivity includes Wi-Fi 6E and HDMI, with support for up to 8K output. Cooling is handled by MSI's Thermal Cooler Boost 5 system with dual fans, built to keep those heavy loads under control. The one trade-off you need to know about, battery life is around 2 hours. That's not a commuting laptop. If you plan to be plugged in most of the time, and you want the most processing and graphics power available at this price range, the Katana 15HX delivers. For pure gaming performance, it's one of the strongest options on this list. The Lenovo Legion 5i is the one for people who want it all without sacrificing too much in any one area. It pairs an Intel Core i7-14700HX with an NVIDIA RTX 5070, and that alone puts it in strong performance territory. But what makes this laptop stand out is everything else around those specs. The display is a 15.1-inch PureSight OLED WQXGA panel at 165 Hz with a resolution of 2560 by 1600. OLED means deep blacks, rich contrast, and vibrant color that IPS panels simply can't match. You start with 16 GB DDR5, upgradable to 64 GB, and a 1 TB SSD. Battery life is genuinely impressive for a laptop at this performance level, up to 9 hours using the 80 watt-hour cell, with USB-C fast charging that gets you from 0 to 70% quickly. At 4.4 pounds, it's one of the more portable machines on this list despite everything it carries under the hood. The chassis is 13% thinner than previous Legion designs, uses Legion cold front cooling, includes a 24-zone RGB keyboard with Nahimic 3D audio, Wi-Fi 7, and Lenovo's AI Engine Plus for performance optimization. If you game, stream, and do coursework or work on the go, this is probably the most well-rounded pick here. Not everyone needs to spend top dollar to get a solid gaming experience, and the ASUS TUF Gaming F16 makes that very clear. It runs a 10-core Intel Core i5-13450HX with an NVIDIA RTX 5050 laptop GPU at a max TGP of 115 watts, paired with Advanced Optimus for efficient GPU switching. The display is a 16-inch FHD plus 165 Hz panel in a 16:10 ratio with adaptive sync and 100% sRGB, so you're still getting a quality screen at this price point. You get 16 gigabytes DDR5 and a 512 gigabytes PCIe Gen 4 SSD. Memory is capped at 16 gigabytes on this model, so keep that in mind if you're planning to heavily multitask or run memory-intensive applications. The chassis is built to MIL-STD-810H durability standards, meaning it's been tested for drops, temperature swings, and general physical stress. Cooling uses ASUS's 2nd-gen arc flow system, and the battery is a generous 90 watt-hours for extended gaming or studying sessions. Wi-Fi 6E rounds out the connectivity. For the price, the TUF F16 gives you a laptop that can handle modern titles at solid frame rates, survives real-world use, and lasts a full day away from the outlet. If portability isn't your concern and you want the closest thing to a desktop gaming setup in a laptop, the ASUS ROG Strix G16 with the G814 FM-DS95 model number is built exactly for that. The CPU here is an AMD Ryzen 99955HX paired with an NVIDIA RTX 5060 with 8 GB of VRAM. The display scales up to 18 inches, running at 144 Hz on a FHD plus 16:10 IPS panel with 3 millisecond response time and 100% color gamut. Dolby Atmos handles the audio side, and both the visuals and sound are at a level you'd expect from a desktop setup. Storage is 2 TB PCIe Gen 4, which is the largest on this list. RAM is 16 GB DDR5-5600, and ASUS has left the 2 memory slots accessible for upgrades. Cooling comes from the same tri-fan array and conductonaut liquid metal setup found in the G16, alongside ROG's intelligent cooling system. Connectivity includes Wi-Fi 6E, Ethernet, a 90 watt-hour battery, surround RGB lighting with the Aura bar, and easy access to internals for future upgrades. This is a machine you set up at a desk and use as your primary gaming and creative workstation. It's big, it's heavy, and it performs accordingly. This is the second ROG Strix G18 on the list, and it occupies a different position from the previous one. Where the G814FM is positioned as a full desktop replacement, this version of the G18 with the RTX 5050 is for people who want that large 18-inch screen experience while still keeping some level of portability and budget friendliness. Inside, you've got the AMD Ryzen 9 8940HX and an NVIDIA RTX 5050 from NVIDIA's Blackwell architecture, supporting DLSS4 and Max-Q efficiency. The screen is the same 18-inch FHD plus 144 Hz IPS panel with 3 millisecond response and Dolby Atmos audio. Storage is 1 TB PCIe Gen 4 NVMe, and RAM is 16 GB DDR5 across 2 user-upgradable slots. ROG Intelligent Cooling manages thermals with a tri-fan setup, and you get Wi-Fi 6E, Gigabit Ethernet, HDMI, and 4 USB ports. The laptop weighs 6.6 pounds. The RTX 5050 won't match the 5060 or 5070 in raw throughput, but for the price point and screen size, it's a genuinely capable machine for everyday gaming at good frame rates. Wrapping up with the most accessible pick on the list, the Acer Nitro V15. This one runs a 13th gen Intel Core i5-13420H with an NVIDIA RTX 4050 with DLSS 3.5. The display is a 15.6-inch FHD IPS panel at 165 Hz, which gives you smooth gameplay on modern titles at medium to high settings. It ships with 8 GB DDR5, but there are 2 RAM slots and it's expandable up to 32 GB, which is a meaningful upgrade path for a budget machine. Storage is a 512 GB PCIe Gen 4 SSD. What's impressive for this price range is the port selection. You get Thunderbolt 4, HDMI, Killer E2600 Ethernet, Wi-Fi 6, and 4 USB ports. A protective sleeve is also included in the box. At 4.66 pounds with a 57 watt-hour battery and a 135 watt adapter, it's light and portable. If you're just getting into PC gaming, building a setup on a tight budget, or need a capable secondary machine, the Nitro V is where to start. Before you click off, here's a quick breakdown to help you land on the right choice. For creators who game, go with the ROG Strix G16. If you want the most raw power available on this list, the MSI Katana 15HX is your machine. The Lenovo Legion 5i gives you the best overall balance across performance, portability, and battery life. Budget-conscious gamers will do well with either the ASUS TUF F16 or the Acer Nitro V, depending on whether you want a slightly stronger GPU or a more expandable RAM setup. The two ROG Strix G18 models are both built for people who want a large screen, with the Ryzen 9 9955HX version being the stronger desktop replacement. The three things to always check before buying any gaming laptop are cooling performance, whether the RAM and storage are upgradable, and actual battery life. Specs look great on paper, but sustained performance under load and how the machine behaves away from a charger are what determine whether you'll be happy with it 6 months from now. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing. We regularly break down the best tech across different budgets and use cases so you can make an informed purchase without having to dig through spec sheets yourself. See you in the next one.